Good afternoon to all of you. If you're in Australia, it is Sunday afternoon in Melbourne. Coming to you live from Melbourne too. Nights with Ping. Great to have you all here for the last late show until next weekend. There will be no more late shows until next weekend, although we will have our daily podcast about the Patterson trial every day during the week. So you have that to look forward to. But this is the last one. This is the last one where we just get to hang out, talk about updates for things, and sort of do what we used to do before the trial. So we get to hang out a little bit. Hey, it's good to see you all. Hey, I'm back. I'm wearing the big jumper again because it's still cold down here. It's still pretty cold. It's good to see you all. There's crazy things happening in the world, like crazy things. I woke up this morning to that there was an explosion in Palm Springs, California. This, well, I don't think we know yet, but they're saying a guy exploded his car in the rear of a fertility clinic. And all over social media this morning, there was photos of his, him after it, lying on the street. There was bits and pieces of it. So I don't understand why people would want to do such a thing. It's not on my list of things to do. I'm not like, yes, this Tuesday, I'm going to go to the fertility clinic in my car and try and make it explode. No, I don't think that's on my list of things to get done. Good to see you all though. Hey Lindy. Lindy said, I lived in Palm Springs for years. It's the last place I would expect something like this. Actually, we have someone who lives in Palm Springs. I don't want to out her, but we have a person that is sometimes in the chat that actually comes from Palm Springs. I was hoping she was here tonight, but she may not be. But she's actually from that town, and I wanted to check in and see how she was doing. Yeah, that's the other thing. That Mexican ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's footage out there of like these guys that were doing some sort of performance at the time. They were like falling from the mast and the whatever sail, and they were like holding on for dear life. It's been a crazy Saturday and Sunday across the world. Why? I don't know. I reckon it's because of Lori Vallow. That's probably what it is. You know, Lori Vallow likes to think she can control the world with her mind. So maybe it's got something to do with that. Maybe she told her network of people to cause havoc around the world. Who knows? Kathy says people lost what they had for. No, so I saw an update from the clinic, from the doctor who runs the clinic. Their lab was okay. There was no breach into the lab, and all their frozen samples and things like that are fine. Actually, do we have it? I don't know if I have it, but there was a statement they put out earlier this morning. Let me see if I have it for you. I might. No. Yeah, let me double check this is the right one. Okay, it is. They did put out a statement saying that basically that they were able to save everything. Yeah, so this is it here, the American Reproductive Center in Palm Springs, and they say we choose hope. And they say this morning an unexpected and tragic event occurred outside our Palm Springs facility when a vehicle exploded in the parking lot near our building. They say, we are heartbroken to learn that this event claimed a life and caused injuries. Our deepest condolences go out to the victim, or the individuals, and the families affected. They say here, we are immensely grateful to share that no members of the ARC team were harmed, and our lab, including eggs, embryos, and reproductive materials, remains fully secure and undamaged. We are heavily conducting a complete safety inspection and have confirmed that our operations and sensitive medical areas were not impacted by the blast. So there you go, confirmed from the clinic that they didn't lose any people's samples or eggs or these things that go like this, that, swimmers thing, male reproductive stuff. Hey, good to see you guys. Hey, Marilyn Landis. Hey, Justice Jane. Good to see you guys. Good to see you all. I want to say thanks to all the people who subscribed. We had a huge number of subscribers over the weekend, something like 45 new people over the weekend. I want to thank those people. Thank you very much. I think we're about 6 people away from hitting the 1,400 mark, which would be really cool. I think we're trying to get to maybe like 2,000 by the end of the Aaron Patterson trial, which would help me out a lot. It really would. Gayla says falling asleep. That's okay. You can fall asleep. It's a late show. It's very late at night. Kathy said could have been a tremendous financial loss for people. I don't think it's really about the money as such. I think imagine if you were a female or a male, but a female. Let's just use that example. Say you had your eggs harvested for this type of medical procedure, and it was like your last shot at having a baby, and it got blown up in the blast. To me, that would be worth a lot more than money, and I would feel extremely sad for that family, like the husband and wife, or wife and wife, or husband and husband. I don't know what they are, but that is something that you can't replace with money, even though these rounds of IVF and things like that, they cost a lot, like 10, 20 grand. They cost a lot of money. But your own reproductive stuff that you can't replace or make more of, or, those things are irreplaceable. So I would feel awful. But luckily they did not succeed, and it seems like it's all okay. So I'm guessing there's a few families out there that are breathing a bit of a sigh of relief today. So, I can understand how that would be really, really sad. John has said, that's really good, Ping, you deserve it. I hope so. It'd be nice to finally get our sort of snowball effect. We've been waiting for a while. Laura T says, hello and welcome to our new friends. Yeah, we've seen a lot of new people in the chat. I think a lot of them are directed towards the Patterson stuff, but we do a lot of true crime here. Not just Aaron Patterson. We do USA crime, Australian crime, William Terrell, all these different cases from all these different places. So we've done close to 700 live streams over our time on this channel. Kathy Lynch says, do we know the motive? I don't think I saw anything about a motive, although I read something that says they were considering whether this was an act of domestic terrorism, which would make sense because, well, it just makes sense. Like, I don't think someone shipped in a car from overseas, although there was a weird thing. I don't know if this is a Okay. This was like a misspelling, I think. They said that their car was out of country, but I don't think it was out of country. I think it was probably out of county. What they meant was it just came from somewhere else that wasn't Palm Springs. Oh, really? I didn't see that. I can show you what it looked like, though. I'm not going to show you. Look, you know what? You know what Ping is? I'm going to tell you what Ping is. Ping is just pro women. That's what I am. I don't. I just like the ladies. I don't know what that makes me, but that's what I like. Isn't that right, Mrs. Ping? That's right. See, she knows. That's it. I don't know what that means, but that's what I am. All right, let's show you the blast Palm Springs. Wanted to show you the one where the car, because like you look how far away this car got from the building. It's insane. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I'll show you if you haven't seen it. Look at this. So originally, I heard a lot of people saying that that he tried to drive into the building, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like he came through the parking lot and went this way, and you can see this outward motion blast area here where everything has been expelled forward from the building. This normally indicates that the blast came from the opposite direction. And you can see here that that car, it doesn't even look like anything's left of it. It's just this charred mess in the parking lot. Oh, I have to take down the thing. Good work, Ping. There we go. You can see the cars there in the top of the parking lot. It looks like a black charred mess. And then you can see that blast zone out the front of that the fertility clinic here. So that indicates that it came from the rear and then blasted out from the front here. There was someone put a video up on Twitter, and they were in a house like down the street, and all of a sudden just all this wind comes from nowhere, and then you get the boom, and they were like, what was that? What was that? And then they found out it was this. But I have seen the photo that is floating about of the guy. I can't show it on this channel. It violates YouTube's rules on graphic content. But yeah, I have seen there was a guy that went in pretty quickly after this happened, and he was filming all around. Yeah, I have seen him off Twitter. I'm not sure what his name is. Hold on, I'll find it. What's his name? He was filming. I can't find the original guy. Oh my god. They're saying, oh, so the FBI has now labeled it an intentional act of terrorism. It injured 5. Oh, this is a big update. So I only just got home. I had to duck out for a bit. His name is. I just want to double check that that's actually been confirmed. Okay, so his name is Guy Edward Bartkus, and they're saying that he's a 25-year-old man. He's been identified as possibly the bomber at the fertility clinic. I'm just trying to see if we get a photo of this guy or not. I don't have a photo of him, but that's what it's saying on my updates here. Let me check over here. 25-year-old. He's from 29 Palms. Apparently, that is where he's from. There was an FBI update. All right. The computer's being very slow. They're saying the Palm Springs mayor told the Times that a bomb in or near the vehicle parked at the reproductive center on North Indian Canyon Drive, Palm Springs, caused the explosion around 11 a.m. on Saturday, killing 1 person. All right, I want to see if we can find the FBI update. FBI, because I would like to watch that. They're saying that they are treating it as an act of terrorism. Okay, I'm going to take you to ABC7 out of California. And if you want to watch more of it, you can head to abc7.com. But I'll play a little bit of it for you from an hour ago.
Terrorism came knocking on the door of Palm Springs.
Now on Eyewitness News at 8 o'clock, terror hits Palm Springs. What's being called an intentional car bomb attack outside a fertility clinic, rocking Palm Springs, hurling debris for blocks, blowing out windows of nearby buildings and leaving 1 person dead. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Eyewitness News at 8, live on ABC7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Jory Rand.
And I'm Sophie Flay. Investigators have their hands full tonight with a massive crime scene in the desert. Here's what we know right now. Investigators are calling this an intentional act of violence. Again, 1 person was killed, at least 4 people are injured. The damage and debris extending over several blocks. Federal and local agencies are involved in the investigation. They have mentioned a person of interest.
We have complete team coverage for you tonight, including a second crime scene in 29 Palms. Eyewitness News reporter Elena Gomez is live there as authorities have locked down a scene out of fear of another explosion. But we begin with Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan, who is live in Palm Springs with the latest on the investigation there. Rob.
Just a massive crime scene out here near downtown Palm Springs, covering multiple city blocks. One officer telling me that investigators could be out here for days. As you mentioned, 4 people injured, 1 person killed. Now, the authorities aren't saying anything about the suspect in this case. However, they are saying that the community is in no longer in any danger. A massive explosion right in the middle of downtown Palm Springs. Dozens of windows blown out by the intensity of the blast, shrapnel flying hundreds of feet, tourists.
Whatever caused the explosion and for windows to break down the block, I can tell you from some other things that have gone kaboom in this type of suburban city areas. In it doesn't normally blow out windows like that far away. So whatever it was pretty powerful. I mean, it that building is probably never going to be fully okay. You could see at the front there was cracking all in the front of the front doorway. There was cracks leading all the way through. So I don't know if it can be repaired or they'll have to knock it down and start again. But the fact that it blew out windows that far away is pretty crazy. Yeah, so they said there's a secondary crime scene at 29 Palms. I'm guessing either is that his home because that's where he's from, and they're probably searching his property. I hope he didn't leave a secondary incendiary device in his property. That would be pretty brutal. Here, 29 Palms military base. Is it 29 Palms military base? There's a Marine Corps up there. Yeah, United States Marine Corps. So they got like a giant Marine Corps building up there. What else is out there? Or is it literally just military? There's some. Wow, there's not a lot out there, is there? There's some homes and things. Look, if I take you there. Oh, computer's acting very slow today for some reason. There's people that live out here. I mean, there's a military base too. Like if we zoom out a little bit, go up here. There was a military up here. So there's like a naval hospital, Marine Corps stuff, commissary for the military. Some things that apparently are blacked out. Super secrets like Area 51. But yeah, they got a mess hall. Looks like they got a whole bunch of facilities up here. An amphitheater. I don't have that address of where they're actually searching, but interesting because you would think that being that the military base is so big that most of the residents in this particular town probably either are associated with the military or they work with a company that works with the military, something like that. That's how these towns tend to work. Whoever is the largest employer in the town, which could be the military, they tend to. That's who the residents work for because that's where the work is. So, yeah, they got a lot. It's pretty. I mean, it's not as desolate as I was expecting, but yeah, there's residents and stuff out here. Look, there's people that live out here. I'm sure. I'm not saying everyone's military. I'm just saying because they're such a big part of that town. There's probably a lot of people who work for them or are active serving or retired. Who knows? But it's there's not a lot out here though, right? You get like a couple of blocks out, and there's a lot of sand, a lot of desert. Yeah, there's a few houses. If we go further south, what do we have? Oh, they have a DMV. Oh, that's lucky. And a Subway, so you can get a new driver's license and you can get a pizza and a sub. All right, let me take you back to the video. It's not a time for jokes, Ping. It's a time for serious reporting.
And locals alike wondering what was going on.
We heard this loud noise. I shook all over building.
It was a big bang.
Leon Basilio was making a delivery for Uber Eats at the time of the blast. He was close by, so he immediately went to the scene.
As I went on the lot, I seen a car on fire. It was pieces of car. It wasn't a whole car.
Authorities say it's possible that the car was the source of the blast. What they would say is that this was no accident. They believe a fertility clinic the car was parked right behind was intentionally targeted.
Make no mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism.
Akil Davis is the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office. He describes the crime scene as massive.
Let me be clear. This was probably one of the largest bombing investigations that we've had in Southern California. This explosion was significant, covering several blocks north, south, east, and west.
4 people were injured, 1 person killed. However, the FBI would not comment on whether the person who was killed was an innocent bystander or perhaps their suspect, only saying this.
We have a person of interest in this investigation, but we are not actively out searching for a suspect.
This is an isolated.
Well, I'd be concerned if you were actively searching for a suspect. By the way, that name, I can't verify it, so ignore it. The only person that's reporting on it is the Hindustan Times, and they are basically a paper that reprints TikTok and people from Twitter. So I can't verify anything like that. So that name could be nothing, could be everything, could be some live streamer or something. Like that happens a lot. It's so funny when that happens in a certain way, but not an employee. Doesn't sound like it. Did I get new glasses? No, these are the same ones I've had for ages. These are the same ones. I didn't get new ones. Why? Do you want me to get new ones? I mean, I can get new ones if you want me to. Do you not like these ones? All right. Yeah. 29 palms. 29 palms. I just wanted to see if there was an address out there. Yeah, I'm going to ignore that name. See, I'll show you the article that showed me the name, but the Hindustan Times are often full of shit. So, see, they're naming that name, but I'd like to know more about it, about why they're naming that name. He left an online manifesto in which he describes himself as a pro-mortalist, stating people didn't give consent to exist. How does that work? How do you give consent to exist? I don't understand how that works. I understand consent to like have sex with a woman or something. Like I get that. But how do you give consent to live? You can't be like, okay, all right, sperm, I told you we don't have consent to create any life. They didn't tell us, those eggs over there, they did not tell us that it is all good to make a baby. All right? You have no consent. None to make a life. They said he left a 30-minute audio recording explaining his motive for causing the explosion. And it says here, I figured I would make a recording explaining why I've decided to bomb an IVF building or clinic. Basically, it just comes down to that I'm angry that I exist and that, nobody got my consent to bring me here. From where exactly do you think you came from? Mars, Jupiter, Stork maybe? Something like that? How does that work? Yeah, that's I don't understand how that works. I don't think any of us gave consent to be here on Earth. They were just like, Mum and Dad had a good night and a bottle of wine, and we all ended up here. 9 months later, we all ended up in the world. 9 months after that sloppy night together, apparently. Gayla says people take parents to court saying they were never asked to be born. They're like those people, those people that are like, I don't pay taxes because I don't agree to your laws. And you're like, that's not really the way it works. But sure, you could try it. And then a cop is going to beat your window in and drag you out of your car. But sure, you could try. Yeah. Chipmunk says the one adult that tried to sue his parents for money saying they had to pay him because he didn't ask to exist. This is what happens when we give people participation awards. I swear. This is what happens. When we give everyone a trophy, this is what happens. People are bored. They don't strive for anything. They're like, you know what? I'm going to sue people because I exist. Chipmunk says, my mom says I was a condom baby. They didn't use one. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't understand how that works. He also described himself as anti-life. Didn't he describe himself as pro-life up here? Pro-mortalist. Seems very anti what his other stance is, which is anti-life. He says, I'm very against IVF. It's extremely wrong. There are people who are having kids after they've sat there and thought about it. How much more stupid can it get? I don't think they're the ones that are stupid. I think there might be the guy who drove into an IVF building maybe and then said that he was against being existing. And I think that might be the one, not the people who decided to get IVF. I think they made a choice. I have no idea. I haven't seen the one that everyone's talking about. Gayla says, my parents told me TV wasn't very good, so hey presto. That's my excuse every time. I'm like, there's nothing on TV. Let's go do the fun thing. Deborah says, the recorded manifesto is on his site. Oh, I want to see it. Can we see it? Will we get in trouble for playing it? I want to see it now. Where is this guy? What's his name? Buttkiss. What's his name? Bartcuss. Okay, Bartcuss. Here, I want to find this thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. What's here? Hold on. Deborah, email it to me. Email it to me. If you remember my email. Gayla says, when I got married, my parents bought me a TV and paid for Sky. Why? Were they worried that you would have too many babies? They were like, whoa, we don't want the same thing that happened to us. We want no grandchildren. None. That is the link for the site. What? Oh, it's his it's his name? Okay. Let me see if it comes up. It doesn't come up for me. Maybe they've already pulled it down. They may have already pulled it down. It just comes up with not available. Maybe they're racist against Australians. Oh, you don't know my email? Yeah. I'm pretty sure you've emailed me before. Yeah, there you go. Let me see what else they're having to say about it. They're saying the explosion is believed to have killed Guy Edward and left 4 people injured. And according to BNO, his remains have yet to be formally identified. They're saying Bartkus from 29 Palms reportedly left the online manifesto, which he described. We already read that. What else? Bartkus even tried to film the attack by setting up a tripod with a camera, but the file failed to upload to his website. That seems like a skill issue, but sure. He explained in a fact on his website that his best friend Sophie, who had similar views, recently died after convincing her boyfriend to shoot her as she slept. What? Poor Sophie. If I recall, we had agreed that if one of us died, the other would probably soon follow. I don't know what to say about that. The incident he described appeared to match the death of a 29-year-old called Sophie Tinney, or Tinney, in Fox Island, Washington. Sophie was believed to have convinced her boyfriend, 29-year-old Lars, to shoot her in the head as she slept. He ended up being arrested and charged with second-degree murder. That tends to happen when you shoot people. When you shoot people and kill them, you tend to be arrested and charged with murder. Doesn't matter what agreement you came up with. Doesn't matter if you had a contract and it says, I give permission for this person to shoot me in the head. It doesn't really work that way. Romeo and Juliet? I don't think so. Seems like she had a boyfriend called Lars. Don't think they were like pining for each other. This all sounds very sad and mentally unstable. I'm okay with people questioning existence, things like that, like why are we here? Who's the crazy person who invented humans? That type of thing. Like I get those kind of thoughts, especially if you had a couple of joints. Like I get it. But consent, how would that work? It's not the way like humans work, really. The humans sort of do the act, and then things happen, and then 9 months later, babies come out. It's not really like you can be like have a yes or no button in the womb, and they can like tap the no button at some point, and it's just like, oh, experiment over, no more baby. It doesn't really work that way. So I'm confused about what he was trying to accomplish here, except for upsetting a lot of families. A lot of luckily it didn't destroy it, but look, I'm okay with people questioning why they're around. That that's a normal thought that people have. Like, why are we here? Who made humans? How did we all exist? Like that, I get those kind of thoughts, but I don't understand a consent to exist because there's no way to do that. There's no way in the human biologicals, unless we invent something like a tiny robot that can be like an AI assistant to an embryo. Maybe. Chipmunk says one day we might know. Many say we choose to come here from near-death experiences. Oh. You made humans? Good work. Yeah. Let me see if I end up getting that email. Probably not. Did I spell my email wrong? I probably did. I tend to do that. Let me see. No, it's not. There's no S on the end. It's just Sunday. There's no S. It's without the S. Yeah. He was 25 but born in 1999. What would that make him? He's like 2000. Yeah. Wouldn't that make him 24 unless he was born in January? No, make him 26, right? I don't know. Unless he's born late in the year, like November or something, that might work. Being that he was 1999. He was a millennium baby. What does it say here? Talking about the Palm Springs bombing, Palm Springs Fire Chief Paul Alvarado said in a statement, according to the New York Post, the blast appears to be an intentional act of violence. The blast field extends for blocks with several buildings damaged, some severely. Oh, I'm glad they got that done. I want to look up this one, this 29-year-old Sophie from Fox Island. I want to see what happened here because I don't remember this case ever. Oh, here. 26th of April. Here, it did happen. Oh, there's Mr. Lars. Maybe we did do this. Here it is. There's her, Sophie's boyfriend. This is the guy that got charged with murder in this sort of, what do they call it? Pierce County woman killed in alleged S-word plot identified. Man has been charged. Well, if it's an S-word plot, how come he never went? Is he one of these people that went, sure, I'll shoot you? I'm not going to do it to myself. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think Gayla gave you bad advice. It's this one here. You can do that. Chipmunk says, I think women having babies are so brave. Toughest job in the world to be a parent, a good parent. Think of all the men out there that have had to. Actually, that joke's probably for a different channel. I was going to say a very, very bad joke. Marlene says, I think we should be able to pick our own names. That is about as radical as I get. You'd have a lot of kids being called Banana and Mama and Dada. I think, if you could choose your own name. What? Yeah, that's the correct email. That's the correct email. The one I posted just then is the correct one. So I think I posted the first time it was correct too. Sunday. Yeah, it's correct. There's no S on the end of Sunday. I know it sounds weird, and maybe I should have put an S on it. Hey, see, we got it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you. Ah, Coachella Valley. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is his manifesto, apparently. Do you guys want to hear it? If you guys already heard it, then I won't play it all. But here's a upload of it. This looks like it comes from CoachellaValley.com. That's a news source out of Coachella for Indio. Yeah, let's play it. What does it say?
Okay, so I figured I would just make a recording explaining why I've decided to bomb an IVF building or clinic. Basically, it just comes down to I'm angry that I exist, and that nobody got my consent to bring me here. And I know what you're going to say. How could we have got your consent because you didn't exist? Blah blah blah. Exactly the point. There's no way you can get consent to bring someone here, so don't fucking do it, right? And if you're going to try to say something really fucking retarded, like, well, since you don't exist, you don't have a consent status, and therefore we don't have to get consent. This really isn't any different from saying, oh, well, the girl's unconscious, so I can't get I can't get her consent to have sex with her, so therefore it's okay because I can't. There's no way to even ask for the consent, right? So, I mean, if you actually think that's a good argument against what I've said, right, you're absolutely retarded. Your brain, it's very childish and retarded, right?
I would not be calling people the R word or childish when I'm the one who blew myself up when I drove into an IVF building. I'm just saying. We all seem to be still here, so I'm not gonna play the rest of that. There's too many R words in there, and I don't want to do that to people. I think that's like a really bad way of expressing yourself. I think there's better words you could use. Like I swear like a sailor, and I don't really use that word. I think there's many people in this world that have intellectual disabilities. They have conditions that they're born with, that type of thing. So I hate when people use that. But I'll swear I'll say the C word all day long if you want, like all day. But just, when it's directed at other people, I think it's pretty messed up. Deborah said he sounded really messed up. Well, he's fighting Mother Nature and doesn't get that part. Well, maybe. It is a childish word a little bit. He called everyone else childish. And his examples of a girl being blacked out and you're not going to get consent if you sleep with her, it's not really the same thing. I mean, that is an opportunity where you can get consent. If you went home with that girl and she didn't pass out, there would be an opportunity for you to get consent because she's a living adult being. She probably turn you down, especially if you say things like that. But sure, I get it. What he's talking about, like, at least he admits that there is no way to get consent because it's not the way it works. But what are you saying that humans should do? Are you saying that humans should never have babies ever for everyone? Like, or just you? That's what I don't understand. Does he mean all humans should stop procreating? Hold on, I have to cough. That's sort of what I don't get. Is it just for him, or does he mean the entire human species should not procreate? And I say, well, that's one way to avoid overpopulation of Earth, I guess. Texas says, what did this guy do for work? He sounds a little condescending. Probably worked at Dell. You know, like those guys that work in the IT helpline at Dell? That's probably what he did because those people are condescending too. Chipmunk says, I used the C word for Lori Vallow. She is a C word, 100%. Let's see. He's insufferable. Yeah, he's one of these. He sounds like one of these people that think they are the smartest people in the room, and they're smarter than everyone else. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to play the rest of it. I think he's a dork. I think he's a very confused individual. Like, if you have a pro-life or like the other one where the A word and things like that, and they have their disagreements, I think we all understand what the level of that is, because there's some people where, we all know the basics of it and why there's a two-sided argument to that. Not to this as such. Like, I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. You bet he's a Luigi fan? I think it's easier to like Luigi than maybe this guy. Luigi at least did something that everyone is annoyed about. Everyone's annoyed at health insurance and the cost and being rejected and paying through the nose for things that, all those type of things. Everyone can relate. Everyone has had issues with health insurance. I have. I know she has. I know all you out there probably have as well, or someone who has. So that was like a wider problem that most people in the society could at least relate to on some level. Not saying you have to endorse what he did, but you can understand why that happened in a way, because everyone thinks that industry is just out to rip everyone off. The fact that you pay your fees every month and they still have the right to say no is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. If they ever reject your stuff, they should have to give back every dollar you paid. That's how it should work, for real. Like, other than that, it's basically like gambling. It's what it is. It's like gambling. So you pay your money, and then when you get sick, you spin the wheel and hope that they actually cover you, and then they say no. That's gambling as far as I'm concerned, because that's what you do when you gamble. You put the money down, you spin the wheel, and either comes up on red or black or a number. Like, it's the same thing. So I sort of get it. Not that I'm a personal fan of Luigi, but I sort of could understand where he was coming from. This guy, I don't really get it. But Gail says, personal, I think women have a right to choose. Well, sure. It's not my argument. Jonas says, the person he killed doesn't consent to dying. Right. What? Wait, hold on. That's a different. I think the consent thing is with the other guy, not really the Luigi thing. But the people he injured maybe didn't consent to being injured in the explosion. Texas Roadrunner said this guy got the Darwin Award. He removed himself from the gene pool. Well, maybe that was his point. Maybe he's like, I want no more of me. No more people who don't consent to being here. So I'm going to stop the line right here, so I don't end up in an episode of Sliders. That was a great show. Let's see. Yeah, that's why I think she was talking about Luigi, but he did injure some people. I don't think anyone died, did they? But all right. I want to talk more about this one because I think this is really interesting, that he had sort of like a pact with a friend, which I find fascinating. They say a 29-year-old woman who was fatally shot in a Fox Island home has been identified. They say Sophie died from multiple gunshot wounds to the head on April 20 near the 600 block of 8th Lane. Her manner of death was listed as homicide. According to the Pierce County Medical Examiner, they say Lars Eugene Nelson, 29, was charged with second-degree murder for her death. His bail was set at $750,000 during his arraignment on April 22nd. Court records show he is out on custody on bond. My God, who paid the almost $1 million in bond? Who paid that? 27? I don't know what that means. Yes, 27. I don't know what that means. Did I miss a number? No. But yeah, they're saying here that Sophie and Lars were reportedly in a relationship prior to her death, according to charging documents. Prosecutors allege that the shooting may have been planned in advance, and that that Sophie possibly convinced Lars to shoot her as she slept. That's pretty brutal. I wonder if he'll end up going to trial. Autopsy. Fox Island man reported his girlfriend's. So he originally reported it as an S word, and then an autopsy found that she was shot multiple times. So that's why they got him, because he tried to lie about it. Well, lie is a strong word when it's apparently consensual, but I don't know how that works with the law. They're saying prosecutors charge him with second-degree murder. That happened at his father's property in the 800 block of Fox Drive on Sunday in April. They're saying emotions ran high during his arraignment at Pierce County Superior Court. The courtroom was nearly packed with members of the defendant and the woman's family, who sat on separate sides of the aisle. Wow. They had to separate them. They had to make sure they were each on either side. They said, Lars is a young man that we brought into our home for a good period of time. He lived in our home and we entrusted him with our daughter. And that's according to Sophie's father, Mark. Mark said his family's only goal is to find out the facts of the incident and let justice be done as it's seen fit. He says, I don't know what may have been going on in this young man's mind, but he's going to have to live with this. I don't wish it on anyone. Crazy. Here, Pierce County deputies were dispatched to a home after a call came in from a man at 5:30 a.m., later identified as Lars, who reported that his girlfriend fatally shot herself. Not a smart thing to do if you end up shooting someone multiple times. They're instantly going to know that it wasn't an S word. Charging documents show that when deputies arrived, Lars invoked his Miranda rights. Deputies eventually became concerned about the woman's manner of death, and he was arrested at 5:15 p.m. and did not seem surprised at his arrest. The victim was found in a bed, and there was significant trauma at the top of her head. A gun was found at the scene, and it was reportedly registered to Lars. Brutal. Absolutely brutal, that poor lady. Thanks, Sean. I'll show that in a minute once we get off this particular story. Detectives learned that about a week before the shooting, the woman's friend reported twice that the victim made S-word threats on an instant messaging site called Discord. And documents show she also mentioned that Nelson was her roommate. Lars was her roommate. The woman's mother requested a welfare check on April 18, saying her daughter had been texting S-word ideation, so thoughts and actions. And the woman's parent told detectives details of their daughter's mental health history and said her depression had spiraled when she was a preteen. They also described Lars and the woman's relationship as codependent. Her parents said that the day before the welfare check was called in, the victim told her mother over the phone that Lars would help end her suffering. Her parents said that Lars and their daughter might have had a S-word pact and alleged that Lars might have assisted their daughter in killing, S-word. Geez, brutal. But the medical examiner reportedly discovered 3 gunshot wounds in the woman's head and indicated to detectives her death would not be ruled as an S-word. Crazy. I don't know what it would take to convince your loved one to commit this type of act. I think we could all understand someone suffering or even mentally and wanting to help them. It's another complete, jump to actually like being like, hey, I got a gun. I could shoot you 3 times in the head. So we'll have to see how this one plays out in the trial, because he's going to go to trial on that murder charge. So get her help, don't shoot her. Yeah, it's a concerning case. I can't say I've heard about too many of these, although there was a woman in Australia. She was poisoning her husband because she wanted to end his suffering, and he was suffering from like late stage dementia and Alzheimer's, and she was struggling to care for him at the time, so she was poisoning him over a period of time to try and, well, kill him. I think she went to trial like 2 years ago or something. They end up finding, was it the wife or the husband? I can't remember which one. But it was one or the other. And they went on trial a couple of years ago, and the sentence, after they had displayed it all in court, they basically gave him nothing. Him or her, I can't remember which one it was that did the act, but they gave them basically nothing. Like they were free to go, and it was because they understood the situation they were in. And it was one of the weirdest cases I've seen go through the Supreme Court, where someone wasn't jailed for killing someone. It was pretty mental. What is going on with my screen? Did we freeze? What's going on with this? Here we go. Chipmunk says, people like that really believe they are doing the world a favor and can't see things getting better. Ellen Greenberg was murdered. Yeah, I think we all know that. I don't think there's any question that there's. Just check out the autopsy photos and the reenactment of how those knives were put into her. And I think there's no other conclusion that you can come to that other than she was murdered. There's no other conclusion. One of them was so far into the base of her skull. Like, you can't do that to yourself. It's almost impossible. It's insane. Like, there is no other conclusion about Ellen. It was not an S word. Not a chance in hell. Sean said that happened before, but a guy was assisted by the girl. There's been a few of them. There's been a couple in Australia. Wasn't an older woman. It may have been a woman. I can't remember if it was male or female, but one of them, yeah, she poisoned her partner for a long period of time, hoping to end their sort of suffering, because they were suffering from like really bad dementia and things like that. Chipmunk says, how horrible. I've lost many to dementia and Alzheimer's. It's horrible to see loved ones go through that. I think that's why the court understood that she was struggling and had very limited support, even though I think they had reached out and tried to get things and tried to have more help, but it just wasn't working. Yeah, it was one of those quirks. Gail said, this is about Ellen Greenberg. Her spine was cut, but she managed to stab herself in the heart. Yeah, not a chance. Not a chance did she, take her, do it herself. No way. All right, let's get off this crazy topic of. All right, thanks, Sean. Let's go to New York. I want to see that. Can we use that? No, I can't use that one. Anything from like another YouTuber, I can't use. Not able to. Let me see if this one works. Yeah, let me take you to Fox 11 News in New York. Yeah, sure. Let's take you to this one.
Everyone, I'm Kairi Tong. We begin with breaking news. Rescue efforts underway in the East River after a massive ship has crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. Stunning new video shows the ship slamming into the bottom of the bridge as hundreds below watched and recorded in disbelief. Police say the crash happened just after 9 p.m. Multiple people are being treated at the hospital. Pixelma's McGee Hickey just arrived on the scene. She is live with new details. McGee, what can you tell us?
Well, we're here in Dumbo, and if you take a look behind me, you see this massive tall ship with what we believe is a Mexican flag that must have drifted between the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges. It's right now on the south side of the Manhattan Bridge, but the crash actually occurred into the Brooklyn Bridge, and we believe it happened more like around 8:30 this evening.
So there is footage out there where you see the ship and it's actually going backwards and it just keeps going towards the bridge and eventually it hits one of the masts on the boat and it snaps and then hits the middle one and it snaps and it hits the last one and it breaks and you see these people actually hanging from the sails trying to save their own lives. I can't imagine what that would be like. Imagine having to hang like 50 or 100 feet up or however tall it is and trying to keep your grip on a fabric sail for 40 minutes, an hour. And you know, if you let go, you're probably dead. Like you're going to hit that deck and you're probably going to die. That would be really hard to deal with. It lost power. Is that what happened? Yeah, it just started drifting backwards. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yes, I want to talk more about the Taylor Swift thing. Yeah. Have you ever been on a sailboat? Oh, not for a long time. Not for a long time. Not for a long time, Marlene. One that's similar to what happened in that one in Baltimore. Was it Baltimore last year? That big container ship hit the bridge, and the bridge collapsed. That was a power loss as well. Luckily, the bridge is okay, I think, in this one. That other one just kaboom, and the bridge went down. Kaliza said, wasn't there another? Yeah, it was last year. I don't think it was intentional. No, I would say that there's probably another bridge nearby or another exit that they could go through because they would have had to get there somehow, right? Like they would have to go into the harbor or whatever somehow. So there was probably another way they went in. This one is obviously too low for a ship like this. But yeah, last year we had that big one in Baltimore. They released a documentary on that. I don't know if any of you watched it. It was PBS. PBS did it. Hold on. No, that's not it. I can't remember if it was Nova. Yeah, Nova. It might be PBS. I think it's called the Key Bridge Disaster, and that was when the Dali lost power and hit the bridge. They were saying in that documentary that after that one where the bridge collapsed, they were actually doing a nationwide audit on all bridges across the USA that they were going to do to find out like structural integrity, is there any protection? Because they were saying that particular bridge in the Dali hit, it didn't have any protection around the like the bases of the bridge, and they're saying a lot of bridges nowadays actually have these sort of like concrete pillars that are in front of the bridge pillar, and if a boat was to hit it, it would hit that first and hopefully slow it down. And sometimes they're filled with sand or something like that, and it's a mechanism to stop an actual colliding with the bridge. And they're saying this particular bridge, the one that Dali ended up hitting, it didn't have anything like that, and they think that's why it fell, is because it had no security or avoidance type things in place. So they actually doing a nationwide audit of all bridges and security systems nationwide in America. Every single one in America they're going to check out. So Chipmunk says, what is it with boats and planes losing power? If you want to talk about like this type of disaster, there was a report that came out today that I was watching. There was a report that I was watching today that came out that said the FAA, they're like monitor towers where they monitor aircraft. They're so old that the lines that connect between the radars, the towers, and other towers that display all the radar information, airplane tracking, that type of thing, it often gets overloaded with data and it crashes like a congestion. And they decided, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do nothing. We're just going to make some very small minor software fixes and hope that's okay, instead of actually installing brand new like fiber lines or better Ethernet, whatever it is. They're just like, yes, we're going to keep on our 50-year-old copper lines that we've been using since the 1950s and just be okay with it. And what happens is, because these are all interlinked between different airports, they often go down together. So you'll get it throughout like California, Seattle, New York, Chicago, and they'll all go down at the same time. And so you've got all these airports where they've got no vision. They can't tell where these airplanes are. And one of their downtimes actually lasted for almost a week. They lost monitor capability for a week. And they're just like, yes, we won't actually fix the problem. We'll do everything but actually install brand new lines and fiber connections and all this type of stuff. They're just like, we'll modify our software and we'll make sure we hire someone to monitor the network. And I was like, as a network technician, which is what I am, I was like, yeah, that's not a good solution. In networking, we're told redundancy is king. So when you work in networking, it's all about redundancy, having a backup plan, having 3 backup plans, whatever it is that you have to do to keep it online. You should be aiming for a 99.9 SLA uptime. You should have like 1 down day every year. Like it should never be down. And just in the last year, they've had like 14 days of no monitors for these aircraft. It's insane. I've never heard of something like this in a, government department. Like I mean, I've heard of government departments not wanting to spend money, but when you've got people's lives in airplanes and you just don't want to fix it, it's bizarre. And it's not an easy fix either. It's going to be like a 5-year plan, because it's going to take 5 years to actually put in the infrastructure, connect it all, connect it to the other ones, do this and that. It's like a massive project and they just don't want to commit the money to it. It's like $500,000 or something per site or something. It's a lot of money. Kaliza said, we have low-hanging overpass, and at least once a year there is a semi that gets stuck underneath and traffic is blocked for a day. I can do you one better. Hold on. So the other day in Australia, a guy with this on the back of his truck decided to just go under the bridge. No idea if it was going to fit or not. Just decided, I'll give it a go. And it got stuck. And this is like a major arterial road, and it's shut down. Like they're still figuring out how to get that from underneath the bridge and not make the bridge collapse. They don't know how to do it. And so apparently traffic's been banked up for like ages. It's insane. I'll show you another angle of it. Yeah, so this guy, oh my god, I can't believe he even tried this. Here you go. So here's his truck here. He just decided to have a go and just drive under it. It's pretty crazy. I'd love to know what's causing these monitor issues that I'm having. I'm getting this thing where I see the photo, but I'm actually in my streaming platform. Like this effing bullshit by Chrome. Come on, catch up. It's like it takes ages for it to catch up, so I can't see anything right now. I hope you guys can still see me. Come on, you effing piece of crap. It's only happened recently since we got an update with Chrome. Before that, it worked fine. Come on, you bugger of a thing. There we go. Finally. So yeah, there you go. It just is there now. It is now part of the landscape. It'll never go away. Will they ever remove it? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, it's a wind turbine that got jammed under the bridge. Yeah. It's it's funny you guys talk about bridges that get hit, or with the ship and that. We have a bridge in Melbourne, and it's notoriously very low. It only really fits cars under it, and every few months someone hits it. Every few months, there's like big flashing lights, and there's a giant sign, and there's like noises and stuff telling you like, "Hey, this bridge is very low." If you're in a bus or a car, like a truck or whatever, you can't go under here. And every few months, someone hits it. It happens all the time. It's called the Montague Bridge in Melbourne, and it happens at least 5 times a year. Someone doesn't read the flashing lights and goes, "Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I'll just drive under it," and they get stuck. Hold on, Montague Bridge. There's actually a website. Oh my god, that's so funny. There's a website that says like how many days since has someone actually hit it. Days since it last got hit, 8 days. Only 8 days. And the average time that people between people hitting it is only 44 days every year. So every 44 years, every 44 days, people hit it. There you go. There's a photo of the Montague Bridge, and it happens. I swear, like you hear in the statistics, every month at least someone is dumb enough to try drive under it, and they've got all these signs and like flashing lights, and it's like, don't drive under here. It's very low. And every 4 weeks, someone goes, "I'll take your bet and I'll drive under the bridge." Yeah, it happens all the time. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's not funny because people get annoyed about it. But you can see, look, these are all the times someone has hit it. There's just heaps of them. Look, this is every time someone's decided to just try and drive under it. There's just heaps of it. There you go. You can see the entire list of people. It's often trucks that get it though. I think it's very old. I think it's been there for a very long time, and they just have never raised it, and it just is what it is. The ones that say 0 days, is there? Let's have a look. 8 days, 84 days, 119 days. Okay. 43. Is there one that says 0 days happen like the next day? That's pretty funny. There's a couple 8 days, 0 days, 2 days. Oh, jeez. 3 days. Like, it happens so frequently. 0 days, 0 days, 0 days. So yeah, a lot of people just don't take it seriously, and they just decide that it would be a good idea to there you go. There's a bigger photo of it. So Montague Bridge is well known in Melbourne if you live down here. Every inch counts. Sounds like a motto for life and for ladies. For ladies. All right. The drive of shame. Yeah. When you have to call your boss and be like, "Hey, you're going to see me on the news? I hit the bridge again." "What do you mean again? You did it last month." "Well, I thought I could do it this time. Ping's channel days without a cat attack. Actually, we've been on a bit of a good run over the weekend. They've been good. But during the week, I think it's because I come home. So I'm home all weekend. So they're like, oh, Dad's boring. We don't want to talk to him. But when I come home from court, they're all like, my God, Dad's here. Let's play. Let's run through Dad's computer. We're so excited that he's back home. And they act up. But on the weekend, like they're sleeping right now. I can see them right here. They're with Mum. They're just sleeping on the couch. So he's over here. He's sort of like this way. He's sleeping with Rory on the back of a couch. So I'm tempting fate. They're pretty naughty. They're pretty naughty, both of them. They miss you. Well, it's a funny way of showing it. We're going to tear Dad's computer and all the cords out. That's a good way of showing it. Sean says, don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, if you could, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, we are so close to 1,400. It would be really cool if we could do that. I want to take you out to the thing about Taylor Swift, though. Let's talk about that. Taylor Swift. Because, I mean, anytime they find a leg, who doesn't want to talk about that? I just want to see if there's a news article, you know. Yeah, let me take you out to NBC 10 WJAR, and it'll tell you about it.
New on the night team, Western Police are investigating after human remains were found in Watch Hill.
Yeah, they were discovered just a short distance from the Ocean House and Taylor Swift's Rhode Island home. The night team's Leanna Falk is working the story live for us in Westerly tonight. Leanna?
Yeah, Dan Patrice, Westerly police say they found what looks like a human leg just blocks away from two of the town's most famous landmarks.
It kind of alarmed me.
It's a spot known for its million-dollar views.
It was just something very out of the ordinary for Westerly.
But Wednesday morning, Westerly police made a chilling discovery.
I saw 3 police cars, one undercover, 2 looked like Westerly town police officers, and there was a medical examiner pulling in behind me.
Investigators called to Everett Avenue just before 9:30 in the morning for reports of human remains. Police tell NBC 10 they found what appeared to be a human leg bone. Taylor Day lives nearby. She was driving by as investigators arrived.
Scary for Westerly because Westerly's, I consider a very safe town.
Police aren't releasing any names yet, and they don't suspect foul play.
I think finding a leg is very suspicious.
You may not recognize Everett Avenue, but just up the road is the iconic Ocean House, the luxury landmark, now the backdrop of this disturbing discovery.
Probably a couple football fields away from Taylor Swift's house and the Ocean House. I would never expect anything like that.
It's the latest in a string of grim discoveries and debunked rumors of a serial killer in southern New England.
My mind immediately went to all the theories that are being thrown around.
Still, many residents like Taylor are on edge.
I'm more aware of my surroundings. I don't go places that are, kind of dim or where I could be alone.
Why is she afraid that someone is going to attack her and cut off her leg? I'm confused why she's afraid. I mean, it's more likely that it may be washed in from the ocean, maybe, but I find it interesting. Chipmunk says, how can they rule out if they don't even know whose leg it is? Yeah, we need some DNA, some forensic. That's what we need. Gail says, we love... you're talking about the cat. No foul play. Well, there was feet that washed up in Canada for like years, and they're like, oh yeah, there's no foul play. They're just like people who ended up in the ocean and currents took all the feet to the same place. Happened for years. They kept washing up. Here. They say a possible human leg bone was discovered this week near Taylor Swift's Watch Hill estate turning one of Rhode Island's most exclusive enclaves into an unexpected center of real-life mystery. They say Westerly police responded to a call Wednesday morning after someone reported finding what appeared to be a human bone along a beach path on Everett Avenue. The remains were recovered and sent to the Rhode Island Medical Examiner's Office for analysis and identification. And yeah, so yeah, there is. I don't know if they got an update on it. Let me have a look. Watch Hill. Did they get an update on whose leg it is? Not that I can see. Yeah, Rhode Island leg. Let's go 24 hours. Let's see if they got an update. They say here, remains found by Taylor Swift's Rhode Island home fuel New England serial killer fears. Police say no foul play. How can you say no foul play if you don't even know where it came from, right? Like someone said in the chat. How can you just be like, yes, we found the other leg last week. It was donated to the beach. Someone tried to donate their legs to the ocean. So we know for sure that this is not foul play. We already have identified the person. I don't think that's the way it works. I think, you need more information about how this happened. But if you're wondering what the serial killer is, there's been sort of a weird run of bodies being found in the upper east coast area of the US. Places like in Connecticut and Rhode Island, New England and Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Like there's been a bunch of them, including people who had been missing for a period of time that just randomly showed up in other areas and they were dead. So I think at least one of them has now been charged as a murder, but the other ones have not been discovered as of yet. My monitor's doing that weird thing again. Come on. Catch up. I'm going to have to find out why. It only started doing this the other day, so I'm going to have to find out why it's doing this. It sort of shows me something else when I should be on the panel for our live stream. Come on. We got stuff to do. It's just being a dick. Come on, you stupid thing. Ah. Oh, probably. Apparently, we're not going to get back to the other thing. Sean says, "Is there a prosthetic surgeon nearby? Why do you think he's testing out like new ideas?" And he's like, "Well, I have to dispose of them somewhere. I don't know, but come on, come on, you piece of crap." It's just being a real dick today. Come on. There we go. Finally. People are saying that's what happened to all her exes. Taylor Swift, maybe. Yes, legislation will be creating a new law surrounding this. Shark attack in Rhode Island? Do they have shark attacks in Rhode Island? I know in New York they sometimes do. Let's have a look. Has anyone seen Travis lately? Did he show up to training camp? Maybe that's the name they'll give him, the leg lopper. Maybe. Taylor Swift cancelled her song, She's Got Legs. I can't say I've heard that song, but I believe you. Gaylor says it's mine, give it back. Yes, if you haven't heard about the serial killer, hold on. Serial. There's all these people. Yeah, there's a update here. I'll bring it to you. From NBC, Fox in Boston. Hold on. Let me take you out there to Boston 25 News.
I'm Bob Ward. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about the possibility that an active serial killer might be on the loose in New England. You've probably seen the posts in your news feeds, or you've come across coverage in mainstream media. There's no question New England serial killer talk has grown into something of a phenomenon, but we're asking if there's anything to it.
In the beginning of March, online sleuths were the first to pick up on a dark trend. They noticed bodies turning up all across southern New England. And as each body was discovered, membership in the private Facebook discussion group New England SK soared. Here, members openly discussed the possibility that some or all of the bodies recently discovered throughout Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts might be the work of a serial killer. The speculation growing so loud, law enforcement responded. In Framingham, where a body was found on April 10th, the DA said, information gathered at the scene does not indicate foul play. In Springfield, where a 45-year-old woman's body was found in late April, the DA said, unverified claims can compromise active investigations. At this time, there is no indication that these incidents are connected to each other, or are they part of a larger public safety threat.
We have law enforcement saying there is no serial killer, yet people are still thinking that there might be a serial killer out there.
Do you know why people are saying that? Is because when the police tell you that there is no serial killer, they don't even know if there is one. This has happened before where they've gone, yes, we found all these dead women. They're all in the same, city, but there is no serial killer. And then they had to come out 3 months later and say, yes, we have arrested the guy that killed all those women. And they went, hey, does that make him a serial killer? And they're like, yes, that would make him a serial killer. And they're like, that's why people don't trust what they hear, because even the cops don't even know at this point. Like, the fact that they're like, you have nothing to worry about, there is no serial killer. They don't know. They have no idea. How would they know? They can say that all they want, but they don't have any proof that there is or isn't, or, yeah, who let Rex Heuermann out for a weekend, secondment? Who let him out? Someone's been letting him out of jail on the weekends. He's like, oh, Long Island is way too, it's way too hot now that I've been caught. I'm going to go out to New England. It's a different type of new. Marlene Clausen said they did the same thing with the Green River Killer. Yeah, it's weird. Like, they shouldn't be saying stuff like that just to try and like calm the public. Like, it's not a good idea. It's a really bad idea. Just say that you don't know. Did you? Hold on. Okay. I can't say I know this one, but okay, what's her name? Glenda Simmons. Glenda Simmons. Okay. What are you saying? That it was the dog. She says this woman, Glenda Simmons, Sermons, that, yeah, they found her body, but it was a dog who brought a foot to a home of a local teacher that led to the discovery of her body. I can't find an article about it. Like, I see the Reddit thing you sent me. Yeah, I'll see if I can find an article for it. No. Apparently it's still unsolved, and she's only 13 years old. Oh my god. But they never discovered who killed her? What state is this? Authorities believe Glenda died the same day she was abducted. So she was abducted November 29, 1969. They found her body and her throat had been cut. I can't say I've ever done anything on this particular story. This is her here, apparently. This is Glenda here. She was 13 and that she never came back home. 2 days after Thanksgiving, Saturday, November 29, 1969, Glenda Sermons decided to take a 20-minute walk to a friend's house to work on homework. The 13-year-old left her home in Knoxville, Tennessee at 3:30 p.m., and two neighbors had seen her leave the home. Around 5 p.m., the friend was supposed to be with her, called the home. The family realized something was wrong. Neighbors and her mother searched for her. They then called the police when they couldn't find her. Glenda was described as shy, reserved, and studious. Always called her parents to let them know where she was. She was hard to get to know, but once you knew her, she was easy to talk with. She had talked about running away the summer before, but not since then. Her parents had hoped that she had run away to a family member's home, but their hopes were dashed. 2 weeks later, in December, dogs playing with a piece of clothing caught people's eyes. What they found was Glenda's nude body. The only thing they could find out was that her throat had been slashed. She may have been dead since the day she disappeared. Authorities were unable to find out if she was SA'd due to animals mutilating her body after death. She was found around 6 miles away from her home. Wow, what a horrible story. And then they've never arrested someone in 5-6 decades since it happened. They never had a suspect, who it might be, anything. Kathy says, I was 8 years old when it happened. This might be a good one for Othram. Maybe there's something left from the samples they took from her that Othram might be able to do genetic genealogy on it and find out what happened to her. I mean, she might be a good case for them because they don't have any leads. They have no idea who might wanted to abduct her. But I know they said that animals had ravaged her body, but maybe there's something they could find with forensic data, because in 1969 they didn't have that type of technology at all. So maybe, but what good would it do? In 1969, someone old enough to be able to kill her, most likely a grown man, especially with what they believe it was probably SA related. It would be what, 40, 50. He'd be in his 70s or 80s by now. I mean, at least you'd have a name. He could have long been dead too. Could have died 3 decades ago, but at least you'd have an answer. At least you'd know what happened to her or why it happened or who did it. Kaliza said, that's so sad. Can't imagine finding that out about my child. Yeah. How do people just go on about life after doing that? Well, someone did. Someone did, because they abducted her while she was walking to a friend's home, probably SA'd her, and then dumped her body nearby. It's crazy. They think they know who it is, but he is dead and no proof. Sounds like a lot of type of unsolved homicides. There's one in there's one where the girl was murdered in her apartment, and her mum does like that caravan every year, and they still haven't been able to figure it out. It's been going on for 20 years, and they still have not had a good, like, they thought it might be one guy, and they did some testing, and it wasn't him, and then they've never been. What's her name? Trish knows her. Hold on. She must be doing it. So every time, the same time of year, she sort of does it. Let me see. Yeah, it's called To Catch a Killer Caravan. I think Trisha's, yeah, Brittany Phillips. That's it. Brittany Phillips murder. This is one of the craziest stories that I think I've ever read in true crime. It's really bonkers. And the fact that they still haven't been able to figure it out is really annoying. It's one of those ones that you feel like they should be able to figure it out and they just haven't. There's a photo of Brittany Phillips right there. And they say her daughter was found slain in her bedroom 20 years ago inside and then they say her mom does this sort of like trip every year where she drives this car around with all of these photos of Brittany on it, saying like, "Do you know anything? Call us and ring the number or email." And she does this every year to try and drum up publicity for her daughter. So if you don't know this story, it's one of the most mental true crime stories I think I've ever read. They say Brittany Phillips was an 18-year-old college student in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when she stopped showing up to her classes, raising suspicion of those who knew her. She was last seen dropping off a friend at home about 8 p.m. on September 27, 2004. 3 days later, on September 30, officers responding to a welfare check that her friend had reached out to police because they were worried, found her strangled in her second floor apartment. She had been SA'd. In the 2 decades since, ex-boyfriends and strangers have been questioned, sex offenders have been investigated, and DNA swabs have been taken, and there are still no suspects into what happened to Brittany. And this is her mom's car. It's really cool. I'm pretty sure Trish has spoken to her a number of times. So she drives around this car every year and tries to drum up publicity for her daughter and try to get people to call in if they knew Brittany or have any ideas. And she does this every year for her daughter. Still, I think last year was the 20th anniversary of her daughter's murder. And this year will be 21. And they still have no idea. No idea who would want to hurt her. No idea who'd want to kill her. Nothing. They had one lead and they really thought it was this person for a really long time, about 15 years. And eventually they were able to get some DNA analysis done, and it wasn't him. The person they thought for like the entire time that they were like, it's that guy, we know it's him, we just don't have the proof. They got some DNA work done and it just was not him. Did not match. It was really sad. Really, really sad. Gayla says longer than the poor girl was alive. Yeah, she was only 18 and her murder has been outstanding for 21 years. Yep. It is very sad and frustrating. Will they ever find out what happened to her? I don't know. I've researched this particular case pretty heavily at one point, and it seems like they got close a couple of times to what they thought was a breakthrough, and it just didn't come together. This is her mum at her grave, so that she visits all the time. So they say here, inside Brittany's apartment, Brittany was found dead on the floor next to her bed. There was some defensive, things underneath her nails. She must have fought. Her mother's belief is that the person was possibly waiting there or broke in after Brittany had gone to sleep. Despite interviewing hundreds of people, nobody really was able to give anything concrete happening around the time this occurred, according to the Tulsa PD. They're saying here, in 2007, with no suspects in sight, her mother began to wonder if the killer had moved on and was killing elsewhere. She says maybe he's a serial predator. Maybe he travels along the highways or has been killing and R-wording women across the USA. I really wanted to see if there was similar murders out there that maybe a spouse, a sister, a detective would hear something familiar in my story. I came up with the idea if I had something on the side of my car, something that people could see and automatically try to look me up and bring in tips, that maybe that would be a way to get her story across the USA. Over the last 18 years, her mother has traveled more than 300,000 miles across 48 states, passing out flyers at different places. She's gone through 4 different vehicles, had cars break down in Oklahoma, Texas, and Wisconsin, got lost in the middle of the night in Wyoming, and white-knuckled it down a Utah mountain in a severe rainstorm and navigated icy conditions in Washington. And yeah, it's crazy that her mom does this, hoping to find out what happened to her daughter. And so far, just nothing. They don't have any leads for her, unfortunately. Gayla says, wait, she was killed on her birthday? I think so. Yeah. October 4, 1985. So she's the same age I am. She would be, in 2004, we would have been the same age. So we would have just turned 18 at the same time. And yeah, that's really sad. So it's like you can imagine if Ping never went past 2004. Luckily I did, but she never did. She was murdered and killed in her home. So you can imagine being 18 and living in your own apartment, right? And that's a pretty big thing when you're around that age, that you have your own area, your own space, something for you. And unfortunately, someone violated that and took her life and SA'd her at the same time. So Carliza said nowadays there would be cameras that would have picked up suspicious people nearby, but not in 2004. Yes, probably most likely in 2004, the cameras were of very poor quality. They just not as good as the ones we have today. If you ever watch some of those old TV shows like Caught on Camera or Crimes Caught on Camera back when 2001 to 1999, like the quality is horrible. Like look at those bank cameras they used to have. That's a bank where they have money, where people rob it all the time, and the cameras were terrible. Like you could barely make out the person. So yeah, the chances of having the killer caught on camera is pretty low. Chipmunk says, wow, that mama loves her daughter. The fact 20 years later, she is still doing it every year. And I'd say she normally does it in the spring. So maybe she's going to do it again around now. Gail says that's a stunning headstone. It's really nice, right? It's beautiful with the weeping angel on top, and then the black marble or slate. It's very nice. It's a very nice one. Snapcrackle Pop says my brother died on his birthday. It's odd to be murdered on your birthday though. What's the odds? It's pretty random, right? Pretty random. Yeah, so okay. Yeah, so I think that's it. All right. Wait, I think we got sidetracked. Let's talk about the children. I think we got sidetracked with the other story. Let's talk about the kids. I didn't mean to leave it till last. I'm not that type of channel. I normally just give you the information. Let's check into the 2 children that are in the title. I want to do that. I think we got sidetracked for like an hour and a half. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to. Let me go here. I do want to talk about that, but not that one. No, I want to go to CBC. So apparently they did do the search for Jack and Lily today, but I didn't see a great deal of a good update. So I'm gonna play this video that they put out a couple of hours ago now from CBC.
These woods scoured for a week without a trace of 2 missing kids, about to be examined again. Officials now confirming the search surrounding the home of Lily and Jack Sullivan will resume Saturday, likely as a recovery effort.
The county as a whole and the province as a whole, I think, need to know what happened in this case.
Police say the 4- and 6-year-olds wandered away 2 weeks ago and said they had no evidence the children were abducted. But RCMP didn't announce the involvement of the Major Crimes Unit until days after it was brought in, nor that it hadn't ruled out that the disappearance was suspicious.
RCMP declined an interview request and would not answer our questions about the case. For instance, it isn't clear why investigators are so certain the children were not abducted, and officials have not said whether they know who, other than their family, was last with the kids.
Now, after dozens of police interviews and more than 180 tips from the public, still no answers.
It doesn't add up at many levels.
This criminologist questioning the way RCMP are sharing.
So I'll stop it there, but I'll take you to a different one. This is the latest article from Global News. They say police say they will return to the area they've already scoured to launch a fresh search. And they're saying it's a search and rescue operation in their efforts to find 2 children who have been missing in Nova Scotia for 2 weeks. They say ground and air teams will return to a specific area near where the children originally went missing to search over the long weekend. Oh, it's a long weekend in Canada? Happy long weekend, Canada people. They say Lily and Jack Sullivan, age 6 and 4, were reported missing on the morning of May 2nd from their homes. RCMP had previously said the siblings were believed to have wandered away. They noted there was no evidence of an abduction, so it didn't qualify for an Amber Alert. Well, when you bring in the major crime squad and for a search and recovery or search and rescue, that always raises red flags, because why are you bringing in the major crime division? Like, that is very strange. C. Taylor said, Ellie said they were going back to follow up on clues, but didn't say what clues. They're onto something. I definitely think there's more to this story than what is being said publicly. I was contacted by a couple of people who said that there's been some odd occurrences, and I don't want to say exactly what they said because I can't verify it, but I'll say that people have reached out saying that they believe that part of the story lies closer to home. I'm not saying that the parents did anything, just that part of the story is closer to home. So we'll have to see whether the RCMP, if that's what they're looking for. Kaliza said parents left the kids alone longer than they admit, and there was a terrible accident and parents are afraid to admit. The stories that seem to keep popping up from people who live close by that keep contacting me is something like the parents may have been doing something that they weren't supposed to, and the children died from neglect. That's all I'm going to say, neglect. And you can take that multiple different ways rather than maybe a murder as such. Chipmunk says, hopefully they know stuff, but don't say so justice can be done. Rachel said, I definitely think they know more and aren't releasing it yet. I don't think RCMP would go back with $1 million search team if they didn't know what they were looking for. They already called off the search once. So Carliza said Daniel is very impatient for the RCMP to find Lily's backpack and Jack's pull-up. Did he plant clues? Well, I'd be more likely, wouldn't you want to find the children? Why do you care about the backpack or the pull-ups? Wouldn't you just want to find the kids? I don't care if they're naked. I just want my kids back. I don't care if they are walking around with socks on. Like, that's more what I'd be worried about. Gayla said kids got into stuff they shouldn't. Possibly. That's not the first time that's happened with children. They've gotten into mommy and daddy's chemical stash of things and taken stuff, and they wind up ODing or something like that. That has happened multiple times. So yeah, it is a little weird. I find it a little strange that, so today was Saturday, and if I go to CBC, which is like one of them, all global, they're the two main big news agencies in Canada, and I don't see an update for whatever happened on Saturday. You would think if they found something, we'd all know about it. You know, like if they found a backpack or something like that. Yeah. Stepdad of missing NS kids says he hopes something positive will come from renewed search. Search teams returned to Lansdowne Station area on Saturday to look for Lily and Jack Sullivan. There's a photo of the stepfather, Daniel. And they say the stepdad of 2 missing kids in a rural county says he hopes the ground and search rescue operation that resumed Saturday will bring Lily and Jack home. He says, I really hope that they find something. I'm grateful for each and every one of them that take the time out here to go through black flies, go through these forests that are absolutely so dense. And they're saying here, ground search crews departed the community a day after the RCMP announcement. That was when they scaled it back on March 7. And they're saying more than 100 people from 5 different search and rescue teams were at work on Saturday. And the stepfather says, I'm just hoping for something positive, a positive outcome that brings the kids home. That's the main goal here. It's the main goal. It's just to find the truth. Martel says rampant online speculation has been difficult for his family to deal with for the past 2 weeks. He says it's hard on everyone. It's hard on me. It's hard on the children's mother. It's hard on the families. I mean, it's been hard on the search and rescue guys. They don't want to feel like they're failing us for not finding anything. They said since the kids went missing, Martel has said he's asked police to give him a polygraph test to clear up speculation. Well, a polygraph test does not do anything like that. I can tell you that that Kathy told me to watch a 2020 episode from last night, right? And it was a woman who was murdered in her home. That she had a roommate. So if you watched 2020 last night, you'll know what I'm talking about. That roommate, they polygraphed him and he failed. And they thought it was him. They thought he had attacked his roommate, killed her, and then stabbed himself and made himself look injured. And it wasn't him. It wasn't him. It was some random dude who broke into the house and killed the girl and then stabbed the roommate. But the roommate still failed the polygraph, and they thought it was him. So polygraphs are not the be end and end all for anything, and I don't think it clears any speculation. If anything, by doing the polygraph, you're going to cause more speculation on you, the family, the case, the children, everything, because you can't predict what those results are going to be. And if you fail a question, I promise you, the true crime community will go ballistic. They will go mental looking at that, and they'll think that now you're involved and that you did something. And so I don't think it proves or denies anything in particular. All it is, it's a tool. So polygraphs are just a tool. They're not a truth serum. They're nothing like that. They're just a tool that can be used under certain circumstances. So I Hate Morning says Gary Ridgway passed lie detector test. Yeah, there's people that can pass them. There's people that believe what they think so heavily that when you put them under a lie detector, they believe they're telling the truth. So it won't come up. Chipmunk said that's why MRI scan is better than a lie detector. Yeah, but they're not going to do that. Gail says I would fail one just because I was nervous. Yeah. Kaliza says mom and dad seem to know more than they are saying. Why aren't we hearing from the grandma who lives next door? They may have been told not to speak very much to the media. That happens quite frequently. When were polygraphs invented? No idea. Probably by the... Hold on. In 1921 by John Augustus Larson, a medical student at the University of California, Berkeley. And he was a police officer with Berkeley Police Department. So that was the first type, but they've become a bit more advanced now, but they're still they're still a little up and down. They don't always work very well, and there's people that can get past them. So 1921 is what it says on my thing. So 1805. What do you think it is? The guy who invented light bulbs also invented, that type of thing. By Timmy Polygraph. That makes sense. They named it after him. Okay. Yeah, so let me have a look. I wanted to go to the Global and see if they did an update too. Yeah, I only see their article that was posted on about 2 days ago. 9 hours ago. Yeah, I don't see any update from like the actual thing. Well, 7 hours ago by CBC. Yeah, let's check this out.
Scotia have launched a new search for two children who went missing earlier this month. Jack and Lily Sullivan disappeared from their home just over 2 weeks ago. Police are taking another look through a dense forest near their remote home, and they're expanding the search into areas they haven't yet reached. CBC's Josh Hoffman has more from Pictou County, Nova Scotia.
15 days after Jack and Lily Sullivan were reported missing from their home here in Lansdowne Station, search and rescue teams are back in the woods looking for any sign of the missing siblings. Roughly 100 officials from 5 different search and rescue teams are taking part, searching new areas they haven't looked at and revisiting other areas they've already combed through.
So some of the areas we search, we do what's called a hasty tasking, so it's very quick, and we'll send a more in-depth search team into the same area. But we're also expanding out into areas that we haven't really had boots on the ground in, just to get more areas covered off.
We haven't learned why exactly RCMP have asked search and rescue to resume their efforts, but we do know police have received more than 180 tips from the public and have interviewed dozens of people as part of their investigation. We don't know what exactly they've learned from those interactions, but we do know police have said previously they do not believe the children were abducted, but they haven't ruled out that this case could be suspicious. A case that has grabbed headlines around the world, one with so few answers, it's only led to more questions.
I would agree that it's led to more questions than we have answers. I would be, if this search comes up with nothing, then I'm even more suspicious, because this will be I don't know, they've already searched parts of this area before. Now they've come back for another go of it, and if they don't find anything, I would be more concerned after that for sure. The woman searcher said it was really hard going due to the fallen trees from an old hurricane. Do hurricanes go into Canada? I guess they do. Woman of Steel said, "Hi everyone, got my 3 hours of sleep and I'm ready to go. Hey, good to see you. Glad you could be here. Glad you could be here." I don't know what you all think about it, but I always have problems when you can't verify, when it's such a long time since someone like a third party could verify the children being alive. Not saying that, again, not saying that anyone's complicit or anything. It just worries me when you're like, when was the last time anyone else saw the children? They're like, oh, like 3-4 days ago. Like, that always is concerning. I know that is a rural area, but the whole calling in sick to school and the party or whatever that is rumored to have happened, like, it's just a lot of strange things around the time that they were, last seen. It's just a little strange. Let me see here. Yeah, it's good to see you all. I don't have too much more than that because I was expecting a bigger update like this evening from the search team, but CBC said the search did resume. Hold on. Let me see if they've got anything on it. Yeah, let me see if CBC put something out on their actual Twitter or not. Only the one I think we already watched a bit of it.
A ground search is set to resume in just hours for 6-year-old Lily, 4-year-old Jack Sullivan. The pair went missing without a trace from their rural Pictou County home in May 2nd. CBC's Michelle Kasub has been following this for us. And like I say, this is the search that's set to resume in the morning in the Maritime. So we are just hours away. What do we know?
Set to resume tomorrow morning and continue into the weekend. This is going to be a search by ground and by air. So there's going to be a ground search crews, RCMP, as well as the Civil Air Search and Rescue Association are all going to be on the ground there, scouring for any sign of these two children that have been gone for 2 weeks now to the day. This is, the 2-week mark that we're hitting today. Search and Rescue told CBC News that it was RCMP that requested them to resume their search, but we don't exactly know what might have prompted that, if there's new evidence, new clues as to where these children might have gone. What Search and Rescue has said at this point is that this is likely to be a recovery mission at this point, given the length of time these children have been gone. And the search is going to focus on areas that either haven't been searched before or were searched, but they want to do a more thorough search of those very remote, very...
When I hear the thing that they want to research an area that they've already been to, it makes me wonder if they think in the time that they called off the search and came back, did someone go into one of the areas that they knew had already been searched and put something there? Because that happened. I've seen that in a couple of different cases where people have known for a fact that the cops have already searched an area and they go back and actually put evidence, a body, things like that in areas that have previously been searched. And where that actually happened, one I can give you an example of was Emile, the little boy who went missing in France. That area where they found his body had already been searched multiple times. And then suddenly, ta-da, like his body showed up. It was very strange. And sometimes people who commit crimes know that these areas have already been gone over and are unlikely to be searched again. And they think that if they put it there, there's a less chance of it being found. But maybe the RCMP knows something, and that's why they're heading back out into areas that have already been searched previously. So that is something to look out for too. I don't think so. I don't think they're like the Egyptians and they can build a pyramid. I think they're too little. Yeah, someone said there's bears and coyote and other things that bite you. I don't know what other things live out there. Coyote, bobcat, maybe. I don't know if they have cougar that far north. I know the cougars are normally a little further south in Florida. No, I mean in sort of like California, northern Mexico, Washington, places like that. I don't know if they're this far north. The other ones, they'll bite you, but they won't kill you. They hang out in clubs in Florida. Kathy says, killers often revisit where they left people. They do. That is true too. It wouldn't surprise me either if they've had surveillance on certain people too and watching what they've been doing in secret for a couple of weeks. It's a tactic they sometimes use, especially RCMP. They've been known to do this before, where they will drop a search and then covert surveillance people and see what they do over the next period when they think it's dying down. So that could be something they're looking at too. I don't know. But there are a couple of tactics that they do use. Laura says, I hope they're also rechecking all the ponds. There is quite a bit of water nearby. There's quite a few big lakes and ponds and irrigation type things. There's a few nearby. Yeah, the thing that gets me about, like, again, I don't want to be mean to a mum that's got missing children, but I'll say that anytime a parent, mum or dad, leaves an area where their children are missing in a very short period of time, that always makes me think twice about things, because most mums won't leave where their children are missing. They'll stay nearby in case the children come back, or mum can find them or something. Like their sort of maternal instinct won't let them leave. And yeah, I would say, like, that's a little odd. Yeah, I think if it was any type of animal attack, they would have found it. Winter Steel said red flag. Yeah, I when I read that about this particular case, I was like, that's strange, because it's not been a very big period of time. Like, if you're talking like 4 months and they're like, there's no hope of ever finding them, you'd be like, well, okay, I get it. But a couple of weeks, it's a bit odd, bit strange. But hey, people are odd and strange, and people do weird things, especially in strange situations. I think that's about it, because we didn't get much of an update. That was basically it, that they're continuing the search through the long weekend. I would say wait for them to give you an answer at the end of the long weekend. If they come back and they're like, oh, we didn't find anything, then I think everything's going to go into overdrive. I know it's already a little like manic right now, but it's really going to go over the top if they come back on Monday and say they couldn't find anything. No clothing, no like backpack, no anything of these children. It's just going to go mental. It's going to go through the roof, I'm sure of it. Carlisa said, in my opinion, the neighbor is suspicious, inserting themselves by saying big drug party, yet says they have no idea the children live there. They caught the bus next to their house 2 times a day, and they're loud kids. That's odd too. Gayla says, if it was an animal, there would be evidence of them in the area, like bear scat. Well, I don't know if I've heard any reports on how many poops the bears are doing every day out there, but maybe the search team is looking for that. I don't know. That is a bit of a poop comment. Pretty funny. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I have court in the morning. I've got to be up very early to get to the courthouse and be back for day 13 of the Erin Patterson trial. So it's another long day tomorrow. I'm going to be looking forward to a verdict. When we get a verdict, I'll be very happy. Ping will be very happy that we get a verdict. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, we're going. I've been on for a couple of hours already. Woman of Steel said, I would be like a wild animal tearing through the woods to find my children. Yes, I agree. Kathy Lynch says, remember when they put missing children on milk cartons? I heard they recently, or within the last decade, stopped doing it. I think the child that was first on there was Adam, right? Was it Adam? I think it was. It was Adam that was the first kid put on the milk carton. Yeah. I will. I'm gonna go get some food. It's about 5:30 p.m. in the evening here now, so we've got to start winding down because I've got to get up at about 5 a.m. to get to court. So I got to get up early. this is it. This is the last late show until next weekend. Next weekend you'll get 2 more, and I will see you tomorrow evening for the day 13, week 4, week 4 of the Aaron Patterson trial, and I'll give you my notes tomorrow. Hold on. I can't see what I'm doing properly with the light. All right. I want to thank Sean. Sean, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Sean's been a great person that's helped out a lot. These trials cost an absolute ton of money to do. It's been insane the amount of cash I've burnt through in a month. I it's just insane. So the people who have been able to donate, the links are always in the description of the video. It's very kind of you all, and I appreciate it allowing me to cover these trials for you. And the people who have newly subscribed, thank you very much. That helps in its own way too. I hope to see even more new people throughout the rest of this trial. That'll be really good. And I promise you, verdict day will be there, and I will be on within seconds of hearing a verdict. I'll have something set up, and I'll be there waiting for a verdict. And as soon as I get a verdict, I will be on my live show, and I'll give you that information as fast as I can get on and start talking. You guys will have it within seconds of me hearing it. So as soon as we get a verdict out of the trial, we'll be doing that. Until then, I'm going to be covering what we've got left in the trial. There's still some things we haven't heard from. Things like technical data. We've not heard of anything like that yet. I hope we'll hear from that soon. Things like, just random things like cell phone towers and, computer data and networking and IP. We haven't heard from a lot of that, but that is my specialty. I know I'm qualified in all those things: cell tower, networking, IP, data, forensic recovery. These are all things that I'm actually fully qualified for, and I can break a lot of this down for you and show you what they've actually found and how it works. And so we're sort of waiting on that one. I don't know when we'll get it, but I hope it'll be this week. And I can tell you more about how it works and what it actually means that with what they found. So Joe says, estimate on how many more days of trial. I have no idea. The judge doesn't really tell us anything like that. It's not like every 4 days they give us an estimate of how long we've got left. But I would say they wanted it to be, originally it was booked in for 6 weeks. This week will be sort of week 4. I think we're getting close to the end. I would say, just judging by that being week 4, and a lot of the time these trials don't run all the way to the end. A lot of times they finish up a little early, but then we've got jury deliberation. So we'll be in verdict watch for a period of time. And with this jury being sequestered, that'll make it, something to look at as well, being that these people won't go home at 5 o'clock. They'll be in some facility somewhere staying throughout the duration of the deliberations. So yeah, it's sort of like a piece of string. It's hard to know, but I would say we've heard a lot of evidence so far. The sort of stuff we haven't heard now is sort of like police. We've heard from a couple of police officers, but I think we're still waiting to hear from some of the ones that did the investigative side and the tech data and maybe AFP. I don't know. But I know that at one point the AFP were involved. I don't know if they still were, but we'll find out. I'll tell you tomorrow evening who we heard from during the trial. And I'm always on the Twitter during the day while I'm in court. I don't have my big computer with me, but I normally am tweeting out information that I get throughout the day. So if there's something I can get out to you quicker, I will. And like the forensic guy, I was able to get that out to you pretty quickly and beat some of the mainstream media. So Laura T says, "Can you say yes or no? Have you heard anything that you didn't already know?" Like, yes, but in a different way, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of this stuff was already known. Yes, but with a caveat that it is different, but it's just sort of information presented in a different way. I'll explain it all after the trial. I promise. I promise. You'll know after the trial. After the trial, I'll be able to tell you everything I know and what I thought and my observations and things like that. I'll be able to break down some of the evidence and things like that. So you'll hear it all. This won't end when we get a verdict. When we get a verdict, it's sort of the start of the content for me, because then I can do what I do best, which is break down a lot of this information and show you how it works. So there's a lot of content to come after the trial. The trial is sort of just the first part of all this, for at least for this channel. This channel, the trial is sort of just the before we can really get into it all and start working with what we know. So yeah. So the answer is yes. Yeah, they're like, yeah. I mean, if you look at the opening statements, there was definitely a couple of things in there that we didn't know before the trial. Kathy said, "Have you enjoyed doing this?" Yeah, I've enjoyed going to court. I've enjoyed being in the trial process and seeing how the court process works in person. I've enjoyed my time within the media team and stuff like that. That's been really cool and sort of like being behind the curtain sort of thing. Like it's not as a member of the public, as a member of the media. That's been like a lot of fun, and I just say it's just very tiring. It's very long days, very, very long hours, because I have to get up so early. I get to court, I have to sit in court all day, and then I have to get home. I have to edit out all the notes, get the content up. So they're longer days than what I'm used to, but I'm not upset at having to do it. It's just a adjustment for me because it's not something we normally do. That's all. That's all. But I have enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll be sad when it's over, because it's over and it's been 2 years of my life following Erin Patterson. I was the first person. I've said it before. I was the first person to make a video on Erin Patterson. So I've been following it for the entire time, and it'll be sad sort of that it's over and that chapter is sort of closed. But I'll be sort of happy that I can go back to my normal my normal routine, and I don't have to travel so far every day and be away for so long every day and stuff like that. That stuff will be nice to get back. But yeah, like I look forward to court every week, and we always hear different things and get to make interesting content for people. I think everyone really appreciates hearing from someone who's not a traditional media. I think people like hearing from a voice who is sort of like them, just a normal person. It's not like they work for a big corporation and they have to say certain things or do something a certain way. And when you come to this channel, you just sort of get what I know, what I'm legally able to tell you. I tell you. It's not like I've formulate it so it's like a neat story. I just give you the data. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll be back tomorrow night about 8 o'clock Australian time. I know it's very early in the morning for the Americans, about 6 a.m. or something, so I know that. But I'll be back next weekend. You'll have more of these type of shows. And Woman of Steel said, "It's been so much fun watching you. You took to it so easily from my point of view." I think the first week was kind of rough, but I think as the weeks have gone on, it's gotten better. I think the presenting has gotten better, and the data and sort of what I know, sort of what I've been able to tell you, I've been able to figure out how to move around that a lot better than what I did on the first week. It's just taken a couple of weeks to get used to it. but because it's my first trial in person, so it's just a very steep learning curve. Some things you have a very long, gradual sort of like thing to the learning. The learning for this is like this. It's just straight up. You don't have time to sit down and really break it down and try to figure it out and make mistakes. You can't make mistakes here. You've got to be perfect. Not perfect, but you've got to not break the rules that you've been given, and you still got to be able to make the content. So it just, yeah, very, very sharp learning curve is what I learned is, yeah. So first day was like a culture shock. It really was. But over the last couple of weeks, I think it's evened out, and the content's gotten better, and I know how to do my notes quicker now and edit them out a lot faster and provide you with the information that I think needs to be reported. So, yeah, it's been fun. I thank everyone, all the people who have supported, been able to donate to help with the costs and things like that. I think we're up to about, I think when I last looked, it was like 2,800 or 3,100 or something like that we burnt through in about 3 weeks, about $1,000 a week that we've burnt through in cost. So, yeah, it's just been one of those things, but I hope in the end it'll be worth it. I really do. And it has. I mean, we've already had a lot of new people that have come and stopped by and subscribed and things like that. So I hope they will stick around, and we'll be doing more trials in the future. I've already planned to go to a second one this year, and you'll get the same type of content from it. So, all right, I better get out of here, else I'll never eat dinner. So I'll never go and eat and calm down for the night. All right. Hey, I love you all very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, I can't wait for the comments to be turned back on too. I know everyone's missing leaving a comment. That as soon as the trial and as soon as we get a verdict, they'll be turned all back on. You can go back and leave comments. You can do whatever. They'll all be back on. Hey, I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 13 of the Erin Patterson trial. Back to trial mode in the morning. Peace out. Love you all. See you then. 8 o'clock tomorrow night for the podcast. And until then, have a great weekend if you're in America or Canada. And if you're in Melbourne, it's Monday tomorrow. So hopefully no Monday-itis for you. Good night, everyone. See you later. Bye.